Ladies and gentlemen, the 2025 Movie Award season is officially here to honor the films of 2024. Now, although obviously we had the nominations for some of these, but we are officially going to be starting up with these award shows happening. And we, of course, began off with one of the not so very important ones, but kind of like almost early precursor of specifically just getting at least maybe an Oscar nomination, not a win to be precise for some of these, and that is the 82nd Annual Golden Globe Awards that will be taking place this Sunday, January 5th, on CBS and on Paramount Plus, hosted by Nikki Glazer, who is actually also nominated in the TV side for Best Stand-Up Comedy for her special Someday You'll Die. But we are not going to be talking about television, of course, in this award show. I am obviously going to be doing the movie side. If you want to see somebody doing TV predictions, somebody will have that in another channel. But today, for this video, it's only going to be on the movie side that will be taking place. And the Cecil B. DeMille Award, just want to mention, will be given to Viola Davis, but it will be presented on Friday, aka tomorrow, when the video will be released on January 2nd, while all the other categories are going to be presented on Sunday in all the TV and all the movie awards, to be precise. Now, I have already done a nomination prediction video already about over a month ago. That did not went well, especially me being an idiot for putting Grande and Culkin in leading, but I thought, oh, the Globes usually do that, but I'm guessing this new voting process just follows what the studio says instead of what they actually feel about when they see the films, so, oh well. 15 categories to be precise, or should I say 14, because we know which category obviously doesn't really belong here. And that's where we're going to be doing the predictions. I might say there might be a couple of categories where there could be a couple of possible winners, but there are going to be a couple of them that might be pretty obvious, especially when you have one film that is the second most nominated film in the Globe's history. But maybe not by much, but not like in the top tier, but don't be surprised if it really overestimates with the wins, depending on how much the Hollywood and foreign press loved the film specifically, and I'm talking about Emilia Perez. But before we predict on how many wins you think Emilia Perez might be taking on Sunday night and what might not actually matter at the Oscars for some of the occasions, let's start to predict the dumb Box Office and Cinematic Achievement Award, or Cinematic and Box Office Achievement Award. Who gives a crap about this category? I think I stated this. They should have revised the motion picture documentary category, not doing something like this. If I was in charge of the Golden Globes, I would take that category out, I would take the music categories out, split the screenplays, revive the motion picture documentary category, and replace the music categories with film editing and cinematography, the two most important technical categories, more so than music in general, even though this is coming from somebody that has covered songs in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, to be precise. So, for this dumb box office category, now, you would think the obvious go-to choice would be what is still kind of at the moment the highest grossing film of this past year, Inside Out 2. Although, there are still a couple of films here that are still doing their theatrical runs, like Wicked, to be precise. Deadpool and Wolverine is also a possibility. But I feel like since it's not going to win motion picture, music, or comedy, I think this is the way they're going to give Wicked the win. Kind of like how they gave Barbie this win instead of motion picture comedy over Poor Things. Because that's kind of surprising. Poor Things won that one instead of Barbie. But I think like since they're not going to award Wicked in the top Best Picture motion picture prize, this is their achievement, I guess, for Wicked, so that's probably it. Even though it doesn't really make sense when you compare that to Inside Out 2 or Deadpool and Wolverine, or what was also in the top 10 that could be a possibility. Yeah, just none of them. It's just like you would think would be the obvious two, because since Dune Part 2's not in here, but I do think it is going to be Wicked for the obvious reasons. On to original song. It is a toss-up between the two Emilia Perez songs, El Mal and Ni Camino. So if you do give this to, oh, now the thing about it is both the music team are nominated 3 times, Clemento Cosa and Camilla, in both the score and the music categories here with the songs they wrote, with Jacques Audiard being a writer, I believe, on El Mal. So you have the Carlos Sevilla Gascon and Zoe Saldana number versus the Selena Gomez number. So, which one of them is I'm Just Ken, and which one of them is What Was I Made For? That's the big, massive question mark. But regardless, both of them are going to win an Oscar in this category, regardless of which song it is. Now, out of all the songs that I've listened to that is on the Oscar shortlist, the best one is actually not on this one. Now, one thing to note, I have heard that Robbie Williams' song Forbidden Road from Better Man has just recently, a few weeks ago, got disqualified. So it cannot no longer be in the conversation to get a nomination for the Oscar for Original Song. So I would not be surprised if they actually do that. But I think since I'm going to go with, because I did listen to both Amelia Perez songs out of context, by the way. And just based on out of context, they're just not that great here. I haven't listened to Beautiful That Way because that didn't make it on the Oscar shortlist, but I probably will after when I'm done filming this. Because Forbidden Road might be the best one out of the 5 that I've listened to. I'm going to go with El Mal as the choice because you would give Audiard a win in this category, so I'm going to go with that. But Mi Camino could be the other one, but it could be any of the other two, unless they both split votes. But I seriously doubt, like last year, I don't think there's not going to be... Like, I could see one of them taking the Critics' Choice, one taking the Golden Globe. It's just like, obviously, you can't really tell with the Grammys, though, unfortunately. Original score, I am going to give this to The Brutalist. I think The Brutalist is probably the obvious choice a lot of people are going with, but don't discount Amelia Perez. Depending on how much the Globes really took to the movie that much, they could give this a win as well. And if it did shows that they really took the movie, how overperforming the win it is of getting 10 nominations. I almost thought about that for like a few days, but I'm going to still stick with the safe bet and say The Brutalist here. One of the easiest categories to predict at the Globes here is Best Screenplay. This is without a doubt our original screenplay frontrunner, Anora, or basically our winner at this moment. Sean Baker is definitely going to be sweeping the screenplay race all season, with the exception of the Spirit Awards. He will obviously take this Globe. He will obviously take Critics' Choice. He will take the BAFTA, even though he's not yet been nominated yet. And he will take the Writers' Guild, of course, since it is eligible, obviously, for WGA. And there is no other film that could take this. Conclave is our supposed adapted screenplay frontrunner, although I said in my December predictions, actually in the last Oscar nomination prediction video, I think, although Conclave's the most likely to get nominated, I think Nickel Boys could actually take the Oscar win, but that's just because Conclave is not written by their director. But I think, without a doubt, Sean Baker is easily going to take this for Anora. I think out of all the categories here, this is definitely probably one of the, I would say, 2 most easiest ones to predict. Time for some acting categories, and starting up in the supporting categories for supporting actress in any motion picture, this is easily going to be Zoe Saldana here, because with how much the Globes really took to the film, there's no way she's not going to lose here specifically. Now, I know many people are thinking Grande still could possibly take the win, or maybe even potentially sweep the season. I might have her out at Critics' Choice. I'm not sure about SAG or BAFTA at the moment. We'll just have to wait and see what the long list is going to say. Well, actually, tomorrow when this video is being released on the 2nd, so I already said that already. But yeah, Zoe Saldana, this is definitely the easiest place for her to win out of all the awards that she will be up for her lead performance in supporting actress. Speaking of lead performances in supporting categories, for supporting actor in any motion picture, Kieran Culkin, most likely on the status that this is probably going to be the only category we know for a fact that might be having a sweep. Because it is a little bit more evident with Clarence Macklin not showing up here for Sing Sing, especially how Sing Sing really underperformed here at the Golden Globes. I don't think there's any other people that I can see taking the win, so I'm thinking Culkin's easily got this. If A Real Pain was not in motion picture, musical or comedy, I would be a bit questioning, but I still think it would be fine because there have been a lot of times a movie still wins an acting category when at the Globes that is not in the picture lineup. It's rare, more common, not much as common at the here at the Globes, not much as at the Oscars, to be precise. Actress in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. Oh shit! It's a toss-up between three of them. It's a toss-up between Carlos Villar-Gascon, Mikey Madison, and Demi Moore. But then again, here's the thing. I am easily going to say Mikey Madison here because obviously there might be a lot of Globes voters that still might convince Zoe Saldana is the true lead of Emilia Perez, even though Gascon is the titular character of the film. And obviously there might be some voters that feel like The Substance is more of a dramatic film. So the safe bet would be Mikey Madison here. I know I would not underestimate Cynthia Erivo, but that would depend on how much they took to Wicked, which I don't think that's not going to be the thing. And I still think she will probably most likely win in this category next year for Wicked for good. Actor for a comedy, since there is no musical here, it is honestly kind of interesting to go with one of the three I'm looking at, between Jesse Eisenberg in A Real Pain, Hugh Grant in Heretic, and Sebastian Stan in A Different Man. Because A Different Man has a possibility to get the makeup and hairstyling nomination at the Oscars, and if there is going to be the one performance Stan would get it at SAG and at the Oscars, it would be for A Different Man and not for The Apprentice, because of obvious reasons with a lot of liberal Hollywood actors that will be against The Apprentice just because of their political views. But I already had discussed about that, so I'm not going to go much further. Hugh Grant did got in at Critics' Choice, so that is something. But I think since the movie is in motion picture, musical, or comedy, out of all the 6 nominees, I am going to give this to Jesse Eisenberg here for A Real Pain. It could be Grant, and it could be Stan, but I think I'm going to go in the safer bet and say Jesse Eisenberg takes this one. Actress in a motion picture drama. Oh boy, it is kind of hard because none of the 6 nominees are in the top 2 motion picture categories. Now, I'm Still Here is in the motion picture non-English language category, but we know for a fact it is not winning that category. So you would think, because it has the only one that has an additional nomination, you would say Fernando Torres. But I think I'm going to go, because let me tell you a little bit about this Pablo Larraín actress thing here at the Globes. Because when Natalie Portman was up for Jackie, she lost the Globe to a non-English performance with Isabelle Huppert in Elle. And then, when Kristen Stewart was nominated here for Spencer, she lost to Nicole Kidman for being the Ricardos. So, it is interesting, we do got a Pablo Larraín performance, a lead actress in the drama category, that's up against a non-English performance, that is also up in the motion picture non-English category, and you also have Nicole Kidman as well. There is a possibility, since Baby Girl is the most recent film that had been released, a lot of voters might, with their recent views, might view, like, last-minute voting that might look like Baby Girl one of the last films they had to watch. They could be a possibility Kidman got to the win. I probably would have convinced more if she didn't win the Globe for being the Ricardos. And the fact that this Larraín trilogy, with the past 2 Larraín performances not winning here, I think it is the safe bet to go with Angelina Jolie to actually give the trilogy a win in this category here at the Golden Globes for Actress in a Drama. Since Portman didn't win, since Kristen Stewart didn't win, Angelina Jolie will probably do it. And speaking of recent, I would say last-minute voting for some recent films to be released, that's the thing about with actor in a motion picture drama. I would say it's a toss-up between Adrien Brody in The Brutalist and Timothée Chalamet in A Complete Unknown. You got to keep in mind, Brody did not win the Globe here for The Pianist. He didn't even win a Critics' Choice. He didn't win SAG nor at BAFTA. Well, I don't think he was not up for Critics' Choice, but he was not didn't win at SAG nor BAFTA. So, you would think this would definitely be the big IOU factor for Brody to give the win for The Brutalist. But then, you got to also to note something here. The Globes love their music biopic acting wins, especially in the leading categories. Like, obviously, you had obviously with Jamie Foxx and Ray and Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon and Walk the Line and Rami Malek and Bohemian Rhapsody. Not also with the win with Austin Butler winning here at the Globes for Elvis, even though it was obvious he was going to get the win because of Brendan Fraser hating the Globes. But when Andra Day won the Actress in a Drama Globe for the United States versus Billie Holiday here, that's the reason why I'm going with Timothée Chalamet here at the Globes. I don't think it won't be a full sweep, I would say. But number one, A Complete Unknown is in motion picture drama. It did got an additional nomination for Edward Norton, and it is one of the last films a lot of voters would have to watch since the movie just came out about a week ago. So I think with the recent views for a lot of voters, I think, and especially since the history with music biopics winning a lot in the leading categories here at the Globes, I am going to pull an upset with Brody not taking this one, and Timothée Chalamet will do for A Complete Unknown. For Best Director, the obvious go-to choice, like there are two of them, you could say. You've got Edward Berger, who obviously was not nominated here for All Quiet on the Western Front, and you got Brady Corbett, which at the moment I don't have him predicting as the surprise snub for Best Director of the Oscars. But since the Globes really took to the film that much with the nominations it got, I don't think he would sweep. I kind of had mentioned this, I believe, in my director predictions. I think he would win some certain awards throughout the season, not all of them. I'm going to say they're going to get this to Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez. Because since the movie got overperformed with the nominations, I feel like this is the place where I think Audiard is the most likely to win out of all the places I think throughout the season. And I wouldn't say it would be a sweep. I would just say he would just win the Globe here. I don't see him winning Critics' Choice. I don't think DGA, I'm not sure. BAFTA could be one thing, but I think here, this is definitely going to be an Emilia Perez somewhat night for the movie specifically, and that's why I'm going to go with, at the Globes, I meant, with Jacques Audiard here instead of Brady Corbett or Edward Berger. Now to the 4 motion picture categories. For motion picture non-English language, this is Emilia Perez award to Lou, so moving on. Motion picture animated, it is kind of a little bit of an interesting toss-up because we don't know who is, I would say, a clear frontrunner, to be precise, because there could be a lot of movies, like if you're not counting Moana 2, any of the 5 could win at any of the award shows. Like, I would love to see another animated feature race like in 2019. Because it just, now with it being released on Netflix, there might be a lot of recent voters that might actually go with Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Foul, especially since this is the first time Wallace and Gromit has been recognized, because Curse of the Were-Rabbit wasn't up here at the Globes because they created the animated category the following year for 2006, so it is a possibility. Flow has gotten a lot of critics awards, but I would say that might be more of a candidate for Critics' Choice, oddly enough. Inside Out 2, obviously, has more of a chance of winning the Dumb Box Office Award. And the fact that it is now the most nominated animated film at the Golden Globes, The Wild Robot could be the potential sweeper of the season. I don't think it would fully sweep, because if Wallace and Gromit is eligible for the film side of the BAFTAs, because I had heard it went through TV, it would definitely win at BAFTA. So at the moment, I think The Wild Robot, I'm going to go with the safer bet here at the Globes. But it could be any of the 5, with the exception of Moana 2 and maybe Memoir of a Snail. But I think it is also a possibility to win this one. Motion picture, musical, or comedy. I would say this is a battle between Anora, which is potentially our Oscar frontrunner for Best Picture, and the most nominated Emilia Perez. Now, I feel like there might be some lazy voters that might feel like, oh, since we are already awarding Emilia Perez in the motion picture non-English category, we don't need to award it for the motion picture, musical, or comedy category, even though they are now up for both of these categories. So, with me overperforming it, I could still go with Emilia Perez here, but then again, Barbie was the most nominated film last year, and it didn't walk away with that prize. So I'm going to go with the safer bet and say Anora. but don't discount Emilia Perez here at the Globes. And then for motion picture drama, I am going to go with, despite of me not going with for director or Adrian Brody, I am going to go with The Brutalist here. Conclave, I would have convinced more of going with Conclave if I did predicted Ray Fiennes for actor in a drama, but I feel like The Brutalist might be more of the safer pick, I would say. Even though Conclave has been out for a while now, but I think also with being a recent release, it might help some of the recent views from voters to actually go for it instead. And with that, that kind of wraps up my predictions for the Golden Globes. The next award show video will be my predictions on the guilds, and then it will go the Critics' Choice, then the BAFTA nominations, and then the Oscar nominations before Oscar nominations day. Let the trophies be handed out already.